The toll booth rebellion, sir. We're going to have to charge you $50,000 for non-compliant grass length, an unsanctioned mailbox color, and my personal favorite, a suspiciously whimsical garden gnome. That's what the laminated notice said, right above the HOA seal, complete with a watermark of a bald eagle wielding hedge clippers. I must have read it 3 times while standing barefoot in my driveway, coffee in one hand, disbelief in the other. For a brief moment, I thought it was a prank. Maybe my brother pulling another stunt like the time he shrink-wrapped my entire kitchen. But no, this was real. And that was the moment I knew. A war I didn't start had just been declared on me. And I was damn sure going to win at point 3 weeks earlier. Life had been beautifully uneventful. I was enjoying the quiet simplicity I'd carved out at the edge of Oak Hill Meadows, a neighborhood so pristine it felt like it had been cut from a suburban showroom catalog. My name's Mason Ryder, civil engineer, lover of black coffee, and unintentional rabble-rouser. I fix roads and bridges for a living. Never gave a second thought to lawn gnomes or mailbox shades. I bought this house 10 years ago from a retired highway contractor who gave me a deal I couldn't refuse. Big yard, workshop in the back, wraparound porch, and oddest of all, ownership of the main road into the neighborhood. Some obscure clause buried in the deed. I barely paid it any mind at the time. The road was in good shape. The neighbors were quiet. There were no strings attached, until last year, when the new HOA board took over, headed by the insufferable tyrant known as Beverly Stokes. Beverly was the kind of woman who wore designer sunglasses to shade meetings, barked at children for riding scooters, and treated the HOA charter like scripture. She drove a leased BMW she couldn't afford and used phrases like community integrity as weapons. I guess I made the mistake of being too quiet, too normal. That made me the perfect target. The notice came on a Monday, hand-delivered by a skinny teenager who looked like he was being paid in V-Bucks. He handed it to me and muttered, "Good luck," before bolting like I had fangs. $50, 000. That's what the paper said. For plant overgrowth, non-neutral lawn decor, embrace yourself, failure to obtain patio furniture certification. I nearly snorted coffee through my nose, and here's the kicker. I never signed any agreement putting me under the HOA's rule. I'd never agreed to let Beverly or her minions dictate the color of my grass or pass judgment on Doug, my gnome, who, I might add, had more charm in his ceramic pinky than Beverly had in her entire lineage. Still, I tried diplomacy. I marched down to their office, which was really just a beige trailer pretending to be important, and asked to speak to whoever was in charge. Of course, Beverly herself sat behind the desk, flanked by her lieutenants, Randy and Susan, who looked like they'd been cast in a knockoff sitcom titled Neighborhood Watch, Civilian Edition. She didn't even glance up when I entered. "Ah, Mr. Ryder, come to face the music," she said, clicking her pen like a judge about to declare sentencing. "I don't think I'm in your jurisdiction," I replied calmly. "My property isn't listed in your covenant. I've never signed any annexation paperwork." She smirked, the kind of smirk you'd expect from someone who'd kicked a puppy and felt proud about it. "If you live here, you follow the rules," she said flatly. "But legally, I don't have to," I said, placing my copy of the deed on her desk. She glanced at it, sniffed, then waved it away like I'd shown her a recipe for gas station sushi. "If you'd like to appeal the fine," she said, "you can file a petition for the next board review session in 4 months." That's when I realized this wasn't about gnomes or grass. This was about control. Beverly wanted a scalp. She picked mine. Unfortunately for her, she chose the wrong person. I drove straight to the county recorder's office. 2 hours later, I had a certified copy of my deed in hand, glowing like Excalibur. And there it was in bold, clear type. I owned the road. The entire stretch. My predecessor had built it in the 70s. The HOA had been squatting on it for 20 years. No lease, no easement, not a penny paid. And suddenly, a plan formed. Not just to push back, but to make a statement so legally bulletproof and comically satisfying, it would echo through every beige-painted porch of this HOA-forsaken land. I called my Uncle Frank, retired contractor, veteran of multiple neighborhood prank wars. "Remember that toll booth you built for your driveway in '97? I asked. "We're going to need version 2.0. He laughed so hard I had to hold the phone away from my face. By the weekend, we had an old toll booth shell, a license plate scanner, solar-powered arm gate, and a sign that read, Private Road. Entry toll, $3. HOA board members, $15. I even added a clause, free for any resident who signed a waiver acknowledging I wasn't under HOA rule. The day it went live, I sat in a lawn chair next to the booth, sipping coffee. Doug by my side like a stone sentinel of justice. Beverly's BMW rolled up, screeched to a halt. She stared in horror. Honked. I waved. You can't do this, she shrieked. But I can, I replied, tapping the laminated sign. Rules are rules. Remember. Behind her, cars stacked up. Confused residents peered at the toll sign, then at her, then at me. Some had already signed the waiver. They rolled through, waved, tossed me a granola bar, or dropped a tip into the donation jar labeled Gnome Security Fund. Beverly fumed like a kettle left on too long. You're extorting the community, she shouted. Extortion. Coming from the woman who fined a family $100 for a mismatched deck chair? I replied, pointing to the camera above the booth. Everything here is recorded. Permitted. Voluntary. That was day 1. Day 2, Beverly retaliated. She stormed my property with Randy and Susan, measuring hedges, taking photos, writing notes like they were prepping for a criminal trial. I stepped outside and said, Hi there, trespassers. Want me to call the cops, or should I just press charges myself? They left without another word, but it only escalated from there. Flyers appeared overnight. Warning, toll tyrant operating illegal business. Complete with a blog link where Beverly compared me to a 19th century robber baron. I posted a screenshot in the neighborhood Facebook group with a caption, $50,000 in fake fines versus $3 tolls. You decide. Comments exploded. Residents began sharing their own horror stories. One was fined for a holiday wreath, another for a plastic flamingo. Then came the golden moment. I offered lifetime toll exemption and free Saturday coffee to anyone who opted out of the HOA. The line to sign was longer than the line for the school bake sale. The next act of desperation came in the form of sabotage. Someone cut my camera wires, disabled the gate, left tire marks behind the booth. Then the cops called. Backhoe. Lot 18. Unpermitted excavation. City land. I connected the dots faster than a conspiracy theorist with a red string board. Karen, or someone from her camp, had tried to build a bypass road illegally. Caught red-handed. Then came the bombshell, a forged easement with my signature. Sloppy, full of typos, obviously fake. I went nuclear. Blew it up on social media. Called the local news. Aired the signature comparison live on TV. The HOA buckled. They offered a settlement. I countered. No lawsuits, no toll refunds, no fines, just a public apology, my legal fees reimbursed, and permanent access rights. 3 days later, Greg read the apology in front of the entire neighborhood. The HOA disbanded. The toll booth stayed. Doug got a pedestal. Coffee was served every weekend. And sometimes, late at night, I still think about that laminated $50,000 fine. The one that tried to shame me, control me, scare me. Now it hangs framed in my workshop, next to the plaque that reads, Here lies the last bad decision the HOA ever made. And every time I pass Doug, I tip my coffee and whisper, We did it, buddy. Because sometimes all it takes to bring down a tyrant is a toll booth, a backbone, and one very committed garden gnome.